Your fall is your fault. I know that's hard to hear. I know it hurts. But sometimes the truth cuts deeper than any blade. And you need to hear it. Most of the time after a failure, we get into a rut for so long that we forget we were the one who caused it. We did it. We made those choices. We took those actions. We ignored the warning signs. But here's what I learned fighting demons much stronger than me. If you caused your fall, that means you have the power to cause your rise. You see, when I lost my family, when everything I loved was taken from me, I had two choices. I could blame the world, blame the demons, blame fate itself, or I could take responsibility for what happened next. The fall happened. The pain is real. The damage is done. But what you do in this moment, right now, that's entirely up to you. You're watching this because something inside you refuses to give up. Something inside you still believes you can change. That flame might be small, it might be flickering, but it's still burning. And as long as that flame exists, you can rebuild. You can adapt. You can become stronger than you were before you fell. So why not today? Why not right now? Why not take that decision to change and adapt to whatever problem you have? Because the person who fell and the person who gets back up, they don't have to be the same person.
There comes a time when we all face these long ruts, man. I get it. I've been there. You know that feeling when everything just feels heavy? When getting out of bed feels like lifting a mountain? When the things that used to excite you now feel like chores? Yeah, I know that feeling. After I lost people I cared about, after I made mistakes that cost lives, I felt that weight too. But here's the thing. We can't stay there for too long if we want to achieve our goals. We just can't. I used to think that maybe if I just waited long enough, something would happen. Some moment would come where I'd suddenly feel motivated again, where that fire would just magically reignite itself. But that's not how it works, bro. That's not how any of this works. Your life is in your hands. Waste it, improve it, do whatever you want. But understand that waiting for some external force to snap you out of it, that's just another way of giving up. I know you don't feel the fire you once felt. I know everything seems gray when it used to be bright. That desire to achieve your goals, that hunger for something better, I know it feels gone. But listen to me. If you're watching this, you haven't given up. Not really. There's something inside you that's still fighting, still pushing you to seek answers, to find a way out. That's not weakness. That's strength you don't even recognize yet.
Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this for you. I'm older than most people when they start chasing their dreams. I know what it's like to feel like you've wasted years. To feel like maybe it's too late. There's something inside you that's holding you back. And it's not just laziness or lack of motivation. Sometimes it's real stuff. Health issues, depression, real depression, not just feeling sad. Anxiety that makes your chest tight. Trauma that you haven't dealt with. I get it. When I was stuck in that dead-end job, cleaning up after kaiju attacks while dreaming of fighting them myself, I had every reason to stay stuck. Too old, too weak, too late to start. But here's what I learned. You're already suffering. You're already in pain. The depression, the emptiness, the feeling like you're dead inside, that's pain too. So if you're gonna suffer anyway, why not suffer in the direction of your goals? You have dreams. You want to achieve them. But you're not doing anything because you feel empty, because the desire seems gone. But the fact that you're watching this means it's not really gone. It's just buried under all that pain. So here's my question. If you're gonna hurt either way, if you're gonna struggle either way, why not struggle towards something instead of just struggling in place? The pain of staying the same, or the pain of changing. You get to choose which pain you carry.
Listen up, because I'm only gonna say this once. You think you're special because you're depressed? You think you're the only one who's ever felt empty inside? You think your pain makes you different from everyone else who's ever failed? Wake up. Everyone falls. Everyone gets knocked down. Everyone faces that moment where they want to quit. The difference between winners and losers isn't who falls, it's who gets back up and does something about it. You want to know what pisses me off? People who have talent, who have potential, who have everything they need to succeed, and they waste it feeling sorry for themselves. You think I never felt like giving up? You think I never had moments where I questioned if I was good enough? Of course I did. But I didn't sit there wallowing in it like some weakling. I used that anger. I used that frustration. I used every failure, every setback, every moment someone told me I couldn't do something, and I turned it into fuel. Your depression, your emptiness, your pain. Stop treating it like some insurmountable obstacle. Start treating it like raw material. Start using it to build something better. You're already angry at yourself for falling. You're already frustrated with where you are. Good. Channel that. Use it. Let it drive you forward instead of holding you back. Stop waiting for the perfect moment when you feel motivated again. Perfect moments don't exist. Champions don't wait for perfect conditions. They create them.
Soldiers, listen carefully. I have led men into battles where survival was uncertain. I've made decisions that cost lives. I've carried the weight of every choice, every failure, every moment where I could have done better. And I'd learned something crucial. The difference between those who break and those who break through isn't the absence of pain. It's the strategic use of it. You're suffering right now, that's clear. But suffering without purpose is just waste. Suffering with direction becomes strength. Let me ask you something. What is your mission? Not your dream, not your wish, not your someday fantasy. Your mission. What are you willing to die for? What cause is worth carrying this pain toward? Because if you can answer that question, then your current suffering becomes reconnaissance. Your depression becomes intelligence gathering. Your emptiness becomes the space where determination can grow. I've sent soldiers into battles they were afraid to fight because the mission demanded it, not because they felt brave, not because they felt ready, because the objective required action, regardless of how they felt. Your objective, your real goals, they don't care about your current emotional state. They don't care if you feel motivated or not. They exist independently of your feelings, waiting for you to decide that achieving them matters more than managing your comfort. The question isn't whether you can eliminate the pain. The question is, can you advance despite it?
I want you to understand something that took me too long to learn. Adapting doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means becoming more of who you're meant to be. When I first started my journey, I thought I had to become harder, angrier, more ruthless to survive. thought adapting meant losing the parts of myself that made me, me. But that's not adaptation. That's just breaking. Real adaptation is like water. Water doesn't fight the rock. It finds a way around, over, under, through. It keeps its essential nature while changing its path. You don't need to kill your kindness to become strong. You don't need to abandon your values to achieve your goals. You don't need to become someone you hate to get what you want. But you do need to change your approach. You do need to change your habits. You do need to change your response to obstacles. The part of you that cares about others, keep that. The part of you that dreams of something better, keep that too. The part of you that feels deeply, that's not weakness, that's your strength. But the part of you that gives up when things get hard, change that. The part of you that makes excuses instead of solutions, change that. The part of you that waits for permission to chase your dreams, change that. Adaptation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the best version of who you already are. And the best version of you doesn't stay down when they fall.
You know what changed everything for me? It wasn't some big dramatic moment. It wasn't some huge breakthrough where suddenly everything made sense. It was getting up one more time. Just one more time. I know you're looking for some secret, some hack, some magic formula that's gonna flip the switch and make you feel like your old self again. But that's not how it works, man. Recovery happens in moments so small, you almost miss them. It happens when you brush your teeth, even though you don't want to. When you drink water instead of staying dehydrated. When you go to sleep at a decent hour instead of scrolling until 3 a.m. These tiny actions, they don't feel like they matter. They don't give you that instant gratification, that immediate sense of accomplishment. But they're building something underneath that you can't see yet. Every time you choose to do something, anything, that moves you forward instead of backward, you're training yourself to be someone who takes action when action is hard. You think I became strong by doing one massive workout? No. I became strong by doing push-ups when I didn't feel like it, by running when my legs were tired, by showing up to training when I wanted to stay home. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Start with 5 minutes, if that's all you can manage. But start. Because the person who does 5 minutes today is different from the person who does nothing. And tomorrow, that person might do 10 minutes.
Let me tell you something about starting over when you think it's too late. I was 32 when I finally got the chance to join the Defense Force. 32. Do you know what people told me? You're too old. You missed your window. That dream was for your younger self. And you know what? They were right about one thing. I wasn't the same person I would have been at 18 or 22. I was better. All those years of failure, all those years of watching other people live the life I wanted, all those years of feeling left behind, they taught me something that younger me never could have understood. Urgency. When you're young, you think you have all the time in the world. You can afford to waste days, weeks, months feeling sorry for yourself. But when you're older, when you realize how much time you've already lost, every moment becomes precious. Your age, your past failures, your late start, stop treating them like disadvantages. They're your secret weapons. You know what doesn't work. You know what paths lead nowhere. You know the cost of giving up better than anyone because you've paid it. You know the weight of regret because you've carried it. That knowledge, that experience, that hard-earned wisdom, that's not baggage. That's equipment. You think those 20-year-olds with their endless optimism have an advantage over you? Maybe. But you have something they don't. You know exactly what you're fighting for, and exactly what you're fighting against. Use that. Channel that. Let your past failures fuel your future success.
All right, enough with the pity party. Time to lock in. You know what separates the pros from the amateurs? Amateurs wait until they feel ready. Pros lock in when they feel like garbage. You think I only train when I'm feeling motivated?
You think I only push myself when everything's going perfect? Hell no. I lock in especially when I don't want to, especially when it's hard, especially when every part of me is screaming to quit. That's what locking in means. It means your feelings don't get a vote anymore. Your comfort doesn't get a say. Your excuses don't get to drive the car. When you lock in, you operate from a different level. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop having internal debates about whether you should or shouldn't. You just do. You're tired? So what? Lock in anyway. You're scared? So what? Lock in anyway. You don't feel like it? So what? Lock in anyway. This is where champions are made. Not in the moments when it's easy, but in the moments when it's impossible and you do it anyway. Your goals don't care about your depression. Your dreams don't care about your anxiety. Success doesn't care about your comfort level. So stop caring about those things too. Start caring about results. Start caring about progress. Start caring about becoming the person you said you wanted to be. Lock-in mode isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's the decision to act regardless of how you feel. Make that decision, right now, today. Lock in.
This is your final order. Not from me, but from the person you used to be to the person you're about to become. I've watched soldiers face impossible odds. I've seen people push beyond what they thought was their breaking point. I've witnessed ordinary individuals transform into legends, not through magic, not through luck, but through one simple decision: to advance when retreat seemed like the only option. Your fall was your fault. Accept it. Own it. But understand that ownership is power. When you take responsibility for your failure, you also take control of your recovery. When you admit you caused your problems, you admit you have the power to solve them. This is not about returning to who you were before the fall. That person fell. That person made the mistakes. That person wasn't strong enough for what they faced. This is about adapting. This is about evolving. This is about becoming someone who can handle what broke the old you. The mission hasn't changed. Your goals are still there, waiting for you to decide they're worth more than your comfort. Your dreams are still possible, waiting for you to decide they're worth more than your fear. You have everything you need. The knowledge of what doesn't work, the pain to fuel your transformation, and the choice to act, despite how you feel. The order is simple. Get up, lock in, adapt. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not when conditions are perfect. Now. Your future self is depending on the decision you make in this moment. Don't let them down. Advance.